Alright, good morning YouTube. It is the last day in California and we are leaving, and somehow my voice is gone. I sound like JJ.
My name's JJ. I'm from Ireland. I lost my voice about 3 weeks ago. No.
I think we're the last ones here. I think everyone else has left. Oh my god.
Yes, my G.
Are you ready to come with us back to the UK, buddy?
The new Garrison mascot.
Looks like yes. Come on, let's go. That classic California weather. Future car. Like that.
What is this?
It's a future car, Ahmed. It's time to say goodbye to California. Honestly though, I'm actually really excited to get home, drive my car, build the new trampoline. So we're in SF, about to head back to London. At London, I have 2 more flights scheduled, but what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna get off at London, get the train home, and then I'll be home like 6 hours earlier. Hopefully, that's the plan, fingers crossed. I'm not gonna film the travel because you guys have seen me do it a million times. So, I will see you guys when I'm back in Birmingham, UK, land of the Queen. Let's go. So we are back at the Garrison, and I'm about to show I'm in my car for the first time.
Heated seats. Get to toast me buns.
There really wasn't going to be much from today's video, but I figured why not turn this video into something a little bit more instructional, more beneficial, like drop some knowledge for you guys. So this is the top 5 tips for how to do higher flips. All of the principles and concepts in this apply for all sorts of flips, but mainly specifically standing flips. Because when you're doing flips from certain transitions like round off or scoot, you use blocking, and blocking is probably the biggest thing that'll get you the height. But that's when you're doing one trick into another to get you the height. What we're talking about today though is how to do higher flips, higher standing power, one trick, everything, 100% momentum, bang, high flips. So let's get right to it. Number 1 is to study the technique of the move that you're trying to do. So just say you're trying to do standing backflip, right? You can maybe do a backflip, but you got to really think about it. What are you actually doing in a backflip? You're starting here, you're looking forward, you're putting your arms down, you're dipping down, you're lifting up, you're doing a backflip. That's what you're doing, you know you're doing that. But really you got to start thinking about it. Think about how deep you're going into the backflip, how much you're squatting into it, how much you're ripping up, how much you're lifting your chest, how much you're stalling, how much you're looking forwards. When you're learning flips, when you start to get better at them, it's because you're getting the technique better, but you know when to put the effort in. You know when your muscles should be firing, you know when everything should be working in unison. Really study the technique of your flip. If you're trying to do a backflip, think about the most important parts of the backflip based on your technique. This is where it gets tricky though, because different techniques have different importance in your sort of muscle groups and the way that you're engaging different parts of your body. For example, me, I'm very chest heavy, so what I like to do in my backflips, I drive from my chest pretty much mainly. Everything comes from my chest when I do a backflip. That's from me studying my technique, and that's from me finding out this is the point where I can put most of my power in and get the most out of it. For other people, usually their strongest part is their legs. So they know that when they're dipping down, they're gonna go deeper into that squat, so they've got more engagement in their quads to drive up, and then their chest isn't doing as much work, it's their legs. Hopefully that makes sense. So number 1, study the technique, see what works for you, and use your strengths to do it. So step 1 is about studying the technique. Step 2 is about applying it. Use your strongest muscles. So like I said, my chest is my strongest part of my body when it comes to lifting me into flips. Well, my chest, my back, my shoulders, my upper body area, it's the strongest part. So I use that in almost every single thing I do. I use my strengths. My legs are strong, but they're not that strong. So anything I can do If I can do it a certain way which allows me to lift my chest properly, that's how I'm gonna do it. So with a cork, I'm lifting it right up here. With a backflip, I'm lifting it up here. With a front flip, I'm lifting it up like this. Use your strengths and adapt your technique to follow that, because there's 5 different ways to do a backflip. Hell, there's 10 different ways to do a backflip. But one of those is going to be the most effective given on what you're strongest at and how your technique evolves around the strength that you're putting into it. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know, I go real deep and abstract on this stuff, but I hope someone out there is on the same wavelength. Tip number 3 is ride out that stalling point. Now if you don't know what I mean, when you're doing a backflip and you're lifting your chest up and you're looking forwards before you throw your head back, that's the stalling point. The stalling point is when you're pulling everything up into the air and then you're pulling it all the way up until the point where you know you're not going up anymore, and then you gotta initiate the flip. The longer you can initiate that stalling point and then hit the flip, the higher you're gonna go, because as soon as you whip your head back and like grab your legs, your height is over. But if you can ride it right up, then you're gonna keep on going higher and higher and higher within reason. But I must say there is a balancing point here, because if you're riding up that stalling point and you stall too long, then you're gonna lose a lot of your flipping momentum. So it's really a balancing game of riding it up as much as you can with the power that you have, but also not too long, because then you might lose power when it comes to actually initiating the flip. If you look closely though at almost any good tricker, you will see them putting this principle into play. You see that when they take off, they're riding it up and they're just trying to wait, but it doesn't feel like waiting. It's like you're just doing everything you can to get yourself in the air, and then when you know that you're at the highest point, that's when you initiate to sort of flip it over and finish the flip that you're doing. Now number 4 is weightlifting. Now this is something I don't really do. I was a member of a gym for like a couple of months whilst I lived here in Birmingham, but really it was more for rehab and injury. I've never properly done weightlifting to sort of make me stronger for tricking. I've always just done tricking to make me stronger. But weightlifting is something you can do to sort of get a lot stronger, get more explosive power. I'm really not the man to talk about that subject, but for example, look at Jujimufu. The guy is massive. I mean, look at his legs and look at his standing jump. Like, think about how much he weighs and then how much he's lifting into the air with those legs. Like, you don't need to be massive. There's definitely a balance between being like that and like someone like me, who if I was to work on my legs, I could get my legs a lot bigger, and that would definitely get me more explosive strength. So for a lot of people, I think they rely on that brute power strength, and a lot of people like me rely on that technique and that riding and using your strengths to the maximum, and that's the 2 different ways that people go about doing higher flips. Like if you look at Dom, I feel Dom is just so powerful, the way he lifts up into his backflip, but I feel like his technique for height definitely isn't the best. I feel like I have a better technique for height, but Dom has more raw power. So he's got a high backflip due to his raw power. I have a high backflip through like my technique of refining it and using my strengths, and it's all a balancing act. Now number 5, the last tip I'm going to give you guys, is practice. Now this is the most important, and it might sound obvious, but honestly guys, the amount of messages I get from people, how can I make this higher? How can I do this higher? And literally all I can say to them is, practice it. Your technique is good. I can see that you're using it all right. You're using your strengths, you're at least trying to, but you haven't put in the work. For me, my highest standing trick is standing backflip. For me, standing backflip is the trick that I have done the most out of any other trick ever. It's the trick I've put the most amount of practice into, and as a result of that, that is why it is so high. Kind of high, not that high. And with practice and practice and practice, I feel that is the only real way to be doing higher flips. So you gotta put in the work, you have to. Anyways guys, I'm gonna end the video there. I know my videos recently have been a little bit shorter, but that's because I've been in California and I've been traveling. And whilst I was in California, obviously a lot of the day I wasn't able to film because it was being professionally filmed for Adrenaline exclusive. But I just wanna say, Adrenaline was an amazing event. Massive shout out to McGuire Kane for hooking it up and his family for being so welcoming and awesome. Like, it was a super awesome time. If you wanna see any of the battles when they come out, I'm gonna put a link for that in description, and you can sign up, and there's a promo code Plan0, and if you sign up, I think you get like a month free or 2 weeks free or something. So you should be able to see a bunch of the older battles, and then these new battles should be online very soon. I think mid-January, start of February or something like that. And Kojo and Ahmed's battle, It was insane. But as you can see, we're back at the garrison now, and I'm super pumped to get back making the videos, make some long videos, daily content, make it good for you guys. So if you're new, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow with another video.